Joining us now with more on the big issues the energy markets will face the new year is our friend, Helima Croft, Global Head of Commodity Strategy at RBC, also a contributor and somebody that makes me smarter on a daily basis.
Oh, thank you.
I just read your stuff and pretend to know what I'm doing. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right, nicety's over.
All right.
It feels like, and I learned this from Helima Croft and some others, that things are calm-ish from the energy, and I'm only saying it from the energy side of the story in the Middle East, but if Israel were to go into, say, Lebanon or take action against Hezbollah, or things were to increase between the U.S. and some of the Hezbollah agents working in northern Iraq or Syria, what's the risk factor?
I think there are three fronts to pay attention to in this Israel-Hamas war. Obviously, there's been a lot of attention on what's been happening in the Red Sea, with ships being struck, with deployments of U.S. forces there. But the sort of issue that I think everyone needs to watch is what is happening on the northern border. You've had a number of senior Israeli officials, including someone like a Benny Gantz, out there saying if Hezbollah does not pull back from southern Lebanon, they will take military action and basically open up a second front. And this is something the United States has been working incredibly hard to prevent. Amos Hochstein has been making repeat.
He's done a great job, by the way.
Great
he gets
job.
No credit for he's the one that's actually on the plane doing
all
the
the time. He was the one who negotiated the Israel-Lebanon maritime boundary. He's been essentially doing triple duty, basically having to deal with the energy markets and trying to prevent another front in this war. And so we're watching very closely what happens, because Hezbollah is showing no indications they're going to pull out of southern Lebanon. So I think if there's one story to pay attention to as we head into the new year, I would pay very close attention to Lebanon.
I don't want to say the Red Sea is a red herring, because it does matter. And yesterday, U.S. ships, the USS Laboon and others, are firing missiles. They're bringing down Houthi missiles. Thank goodness they're protecting the ships. God bless the troops. But I also know two people in New Jersey, Helima, that are Army reservists who've just been called up to Iraq and Syria. They're in their mid-40s. They have kids. They're like, what, we're going to Syria? And, these are reservists. They're doing their tour duty. They're going to go. But when I'm wondering what's going on there, that there's enough action. When I hear Iraq is 4 million barrels a day.
People thought we were done with Iraq wars. And now we have a situation where we've had multiple attacks on U.S. servicemen in Iraq on bases. Now, we have not had yet any casualties in terms of people who have been injured, but no American servicemen have been killed. But that is something that we'd be watching very closely. Remember President Trump? That was his red line. Any American killed, Qasem Soleimani was hit. And so we have to pay very close attention to what is happening. The U.S. has responded by attacking Iranian-backed militants in both Iraq and Syria. And again, if you want to look at sort of the escalation threat, that's another place to watch. Again, it's not that the Red Sea is a red herring, but anything that brings more direct confrontation with Iran and the United States is what you have to watch.
What can we say about the markets looking through, or attempts to look through, these geopolitical issues, not just right now, but even if you look back at, the net impact after Ukraine, and then, of course, the attacks by Hamas in October?
I think it's because of what happened with Russia. Remember when the war started, we had that massive run-up in oil prices, expectation we'd see significant Russian reductions because we were sanctioning Russia. We sanctioned the Russian central bank. We took banks and disconnected them from SWIFT. But we made sure to keep Russian oil on the market. And so it was a disruption that didn't happen. And so many market participants are like, I'm not going to get burned banking on a geopolitically driven supply disruption. So I'll believe it when I see it. But again, I would say that if you look at this situation in the Middle East, I think it is far too soon to write off the risks there. We also have a very well-supplied market, though. U.S. production has had a fantastic year. Brazilian production has grown. Guyana, though, pay attention to Venezuela, Guyana. So I think a lot of people are like, the market's well-supplied. I don't have to worry about this.